let's see here. Okay, we are officially live on Facebook. This is Spotlight Sunday. We are doing it earlier than usual because we have the amazing Mike here you're in the UK, right?
I am, yeah.
So we adjusted our time zone, so hopefully everybody can still watch today, and I am super excited to get started. So I'm going to take a second to share this video into the event and pin it to the page so we can make sure that everybody can see it before we get started. We'll mark it as an announcement, and then we'll pull it up so I can see comments. If you guys are here, you guys should know the drill by now. Like, let me know that you're here. Say hi. I love engaging with people and like not talking to myself on a screen. So if you are here, let me know that you're here. Let's share it right here. We're almost ready to go. Post. Okay, cool. We are ready to go then. So
Awesome.
I would love it if you could just introduce yourself. I don't like to introduce other people because I feel like I always screw it up. So I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about you and how you got started and what you do and all of those amazing things.
All right. Well, I do quite a lot of things recently. So that this year's kicked off a lot of things for me. So I'm mostly a coach, so I help online business owners increase their sales and their success in their business, but I come at it from a mindset perspective. So I come at it from things like confidence and self-esteem and self-worth and all of those things that help people explore their businesses. That is how I spend the majority of my time. But aside from that, I also have my own podcast, which is Success in Sales, Hacks and Chats, and I also have my own, I co-own an online magazine with a friend, and it's called Rise as well. So we're kicking that off in the new year,
Cool.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's exciting. So how did you get started? How did you end up here? Did you always want to be a coach, or what made you get here?
Well, when I was younger, so the first sort of attempt at coaching that I had was tennis. So tennis was one of the first sports I played, and someone turned around to me when I was about 16, 17 and said, "You're reasonably good at tennis. You like helping other people. You should be a coach." So it wasn't like I never decided I wanted to be a coach. Someone else saw that, I was helping the other kids and all those sort of things. And he said, "You should probably do it because you're reasonably good at the tennis and you also like helping as well." I thought, okay, well, I'll give it a go and I'll see how it pans out. So I decided to get all the qualifications because unless you're actually aware of it, you actually need the qualifications to be a coach when it comes to tennis and other things as well. So I had to do all those things. I got qualified, started off my first ever business as well. So the venue that I was working at, we basically had self-employed contracts instead of being an employee of the club. So I started my own business straight away when I was about 18, 19 at the time. And this was a moment when I was like, right, I've got to try hard now. I can't just get paid for everything that I do now. I have to work hard. I have to talk to people. I have to sell myself to people. I have to come out of my own shell, essentially, in order to get things moving forwards. And as someone that would call themselves a bit of an introvert, would call themselves someone that does spend time alone to recharge and go back out into the world and come back in to recharge and all of those things, is that I had to learn very, very quickly what worked. And not just that, but who actually I needed to be as well. So we've got different sides of ourselves, and I had to find this more outgoing side of me very, very quickly. Otherwise, I was going to struggle. The business was not going to thrive, or I wasn't going to, because I was 19, right? And I don't know if you've ever had this yourself, but people don't like working with you until you hit a certain age, right? Like if you're a teenager, people of a certain age will go, nah, because you're too young. You've got no chance, right? So I had to overcome all of those things on top of like not knowing how to run a business. So I basically decided to do it and figure it out as I go. That was the intent. That was the, oh my God, I can't believe I've been given this opportunity, this chance to do this. Can I do it? There's only one way to find out. That was pretty much the conversation I had with myself at the time. And because I was younger, I didn't have like a lot of responsibilities at the time either. So it was like,
that helps.
if it doesn't work, hey ho, we'll try something new. So it was one of those situations, and it's a very difficult situation to be in as well, because I've saw the description that you put out for the Facebook Live as well, is that yes, I do have cystic fibrosis and diabetes as well. We'll get to how crazy that is in a minute.
Okay.
But because it was tennis and because it was sport related, cystic fibrosis affects my lungs. So it's one of a lung condition. So I had to be active. I also had to be physically healthy enough to be able to work, which now it's all online. Although there is a bit of I've got to be upbeat and all those sort of things.
Yeah.
When you're playing tennis, when you have to be better than the other person on the other side of the net, as a coach them, I had to be physically capable of doing those things and coach and play and sell myself and all of those things that come along with, hey, I have a business now. This is my life.
Yeah.
But it never really hit home for me, like how good I felt when other people felt good. Okay. So I realized that the more I helped other people, the better I felt.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, what's next? I started chasing it because you start to get conditioned to the feeling eventually. And it was like, I've got to find something else. Like, what else can I do? Right. And when I was 18, I was getting reasonably good at the gym as well. So cystic fibrosis, lung condition, I have to go to the gym. That is like part of my life now. Because I'm getting quite good at this, and there are people that are struggling with this. So what can I do about that? And then someone said, oh, you could be a personal trainer. This is where it gets really daft, right? Someone with a lung condition to personal trainer. Okay, there we go. So I was like, right, well, I'll give it a go. I'll try it. You never know, right? Yeah. It was like, just do it. Now, again, I had to get qualifications. I had to train. I had to learn how to do it. And this is like a whole different world, by the way. You can go from tennis coaching to personal training is like a completely different planet. Yeah. So I've got to figure this out as well. I've got to learn as I go. So my whole journey has been basically helping people in more powerful ways, in better ways, for want of a better expression, but better for me, right? It's like it's a bit of an upgrade from tennis to health and fitness. Yeah. And it was like, right, what's next? Because at the time I was tennis coaching and personal training and traveling between venues and having to fit my own exercise in, fit my own training in, and work with clients and do the behind the scenes stuff, which no one ever talks about. Yeah. Like, I've got to send messages. I've got to send emails. I've got to talk to people. I've got to be at the venues to market myself. Like, there was no, like, I couldn't not market myself because I'm too busy traveling, right? So I essentially burnt out at the time. So I'd hit a point where I couldn't physically do any more, as I wasn't sleeping very well. My own training took a hit. I felt awful because I wasn't doing my own thing, wasn't looking after myself properly. And I got to a point where I just couldn't do any more. I couldn't earn any more money because I couldn't work any more hours because I physically couldn't do it. So it was like, what do I do then? I can't do any more. And not just that, but because I was working so much, I hadn't had the time to enjoy the fact that I'm earning the money as well. So like weekends weren't my own, evenings weren't my own. During the day, I was recovering for the other things, and it was just I can't. I've hit my ceiling. I can't break through physically. So this was when Facebook got big. This was when Facebook and Twitter was like the place to be. And I thought, I've got to get in on this. I've got to. It's the only way I'm ever going to be able to do any more than I'm already doing was by taking things online. Yeah. And again, figured it out as I went, which brings us to present day, where I thought, right, well, I had to learn, because when you dive into the online world, people don't realize that, yes, it's great, right? Yes, it is amazing to talk across countries and around the world. And, you know, I've spoken to people in Australia and China and America, and it's like, no way, right? But as soon as you go online, almost competing for the attention of everybody that you want to work with.
Yeah.
So I had to learn quickly that, right, well, I've got to figure out what I want to help people with. I've got to plant my flag, if you will, on one or two things that I want to help people with the most.
Yeah.
And after having conversations with my personal training clients, conversations with my tennis coaching clients, and realizing that I'm having more conversations with these people than giving them exercise plans.
Yeah.
Or giving them diet plans. Everything was a conversation because I had to understand whatever it is they were struggling with the most.
Yeah.
And then, it's almost like the more clearer I was, the clearer they were.
Yeah.
And then the solution was simple, and I didn't realize how simple it was because of those things. The clarity helped, in other words, right?
Yes.
So it was like, right, well, I'll do that online then, because I've had 8 to 10 years experience of tennis coaching with kids and adults and personal training and all of those things all combined. I thought, well, but I can't just dive into this. I have to learn how to do it. So I did the same thing as I've always done. I did the bare minimum in terms of I need the paper in case someone ever asks for it. Did the qualification that I needed. And I was like, right, well, I'll dive in. I'll do it. So it's been a gradual progression of learning as I go, following what I want to do, following how I want to help people, all because I've kind of driven from this. I feel great when I see other people's eyes light up and they go, whoa, no way. And they go ahead and they start doing things that they never thought that they could do. That brings us to present day. And the podcast was a random idea that took me 6 months to actually do because I was talking myself out of it the whole time. And I decided, no, just do it, just dive in. And I realized that there was a level of responsibility once you start something like that. You know yourself with your show, right? With your Sunday Spotlight. It's as soon as you dive into that, it's like, right, well, I've got to get guests now. I've got to market. I've got to put myself out there as well, so people actually want to be on the show.
Exactly.
If I don't do anything and just sit there, no one's going. People don't come to you. You got to go and get people to a certain extent. And it's like, I've got to do more now. This is mega. How on earth can I do this? So again, I had to learn how to do it. I had to learn what to do. I had to figure it out. I had to basically copy other people, which sounds worse actually is, because there's nothing better than learning from people that are better than you, right? Which was why the podcast started. And then Rise came about. So a bit of a funny story behind that. Me and my friend had a bit of it involved alcohol, right? We had a bit of a night, right?
Usually good ideas do.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, should we just start a magazine? Should we just do our own thing? Should we just put it together, throw it all together and put it out, get contributors in because we're amazing, right? And it was like, should we just go for it? Should we do it? And we were like, okay, wait until tomorrow. After the hangover, if it's still something that we want to do, then we'll do it. Because I'm like, listen, right, Jane is here, by the way. Listen, Jane, right, we have had a lot to drink. I know, but wouldn't it be great if? And I'm like, yeah, it would. It'd be amazing, but we need to actually think clearly about it as opposed to alcohol clearly about it. So it was like, right, we need to figure it out. So it did. We woke up and we were like, it's something we both want to do. We want our own magazine. It's something that we've wanted. So what's the worst that can happen? No one will read it for the first 12 months. And we'll decide whether or not it's worth the investment of time and energy and money and all those things at 12 months. We've got to do 12 months. And today we started it. We hit, I think, over 10,000 unique readers for a month, which was the biggest month we've ever had. But then between us, we got so busy we had to take a break. So we took a break for a couple of months. I've been given the go-ahead to basically tell people that we're starting in a month or two. So new look, new brand, new everything. But it's been a constant, we've got to leap off the cliff and figure it out.
Yes.
But we've had to turn around to each other and say, can we handle it? Do we actually... We've got the confidence enough to do it in the first place, because you hear a lot of need to believe in ourselves, and we need to be confident. And I'm a mindset coach, right? So I hear it more often than not. And it's like, okay, well, fine, but there are certain things that you need to have in order for things like belief and confidence to actually come about. Like, they don't just show up out the blue. Unfortunately, if they did, then we would all have it.
Right. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, it would.
Wouldn't that be great?
If we all had it and it could just show up out the blue, and we didn't have to engineer it in any way, shape, or form, then we would all have it. And then there'd be so much competition for the 1% in our industry that there would be no such thing as a 1%, because we would all have what the 1% have. And it's not actually the case. We need to actually have a level of trust in ourselves. We need to like ourselves. Like, you imagine, so I hate who I am. I hate who I am as a person. I'm a terrible human being, but I want all the success, and I want to take massive action, and I want to grow my business. It doesn't make sense. The things don't really connect. So that's what I spend the most of my time now, is getting people to A, understand that, and B, actually give them the tools that they need to work through it.
I love it. Okay, so my favorite things that you've said so far are just every piece of that story had the same thing, like just do it, just jump in and figure it out and just do it as you go. Because at least with my clients, and I'm sure a lot with your clients too, that's like the main thing that holds people back. Like, I'm not ready, I'm not prepared, I don't know what to do. And just realizing that nobody does. Like, nobody knows what they're doing. You have to just jump in and do it. And I love that part. And then obviously the huge, inspiring piece that you do have these medical issues that you're still working through at the same time, but just realizing that even though you have those struggles that other people don't have, a lot of them are the same also, those other pieces. And still, if you can do it, anybody can do it, right? It's amazing.
Yeah, I was actually quite honored, I guess. I managed to interview one of the co-founders of Mind Valley, which was that I was like, oh, I'll have half an hour with you. Yeah, we'll just do it. And it was like, yeah, fine. And I'm like, oh, no way. So awesome. One of the things that he said is that he actually didn't know what he was doing. Even he doesn't really know. And it's like, what? You have these problems as well. It's like, we all have the same. It's the same thing. We all worry that we're gonna fail. We all worry that we might not even succeed. We all have those things because we all ask ourselves a certain number of questions before we take any action. It doesn't matter what it is. Yeah. But as long as we don't have answers to those questions, they will always be there. So a big part of the conversations that we have and the conversations that we have with our clients is about, you need to have answers for those questions, because wherever you don't have an answer, that's always going to come up for you, and that's always going to hold you back every single time. Yes. So we need to, there's an element of having the answers to those questions, but then you need to also ask yourself questions that you actually want to hear the answers to. Yeah. Like the amount of clients that were like, oh, why me? You really want to know? Why not you? Do you really want to? Because if your brain has the answer, that said, well, you haven't got a clue what you're doing. You don't believe in yourself. You've got no skill set whatsoever. So why you? Yeah. Your head got, and you think, why did I even ask that question? Like, why do I even say why me? Because do I really want to know the answer? Probably not. So there's a big part of it. You need to have the answers, but you need to have answers that you would like. And you also need to start asking yourself questions that you want to hear the answers to. Yeah, that's a good point. And I've never heard it worded quite like that. And I really like that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Amber says, the only thing stopping us is ourselves usually. I'm with you. I have several chronic issues, including diabetes. It's just part of life. Do it anyway. Yes, exactly. I love it. Yeah, it is. And one of the things that I had to realize, I guess, was the conditions actually helped me get to where I am. So if I hadn't had to have the mental strength to get through everything and keep going and keep pushing, I wouldn't be able. That's like my training, if you will, for the business side. So when people don't have that, when people don't have any adversity at all, like I have medication I have to take every single day, treatments every single day, and it's like, well, that means that I need a habit. I need to build in habits, which makes it easier for me to build in more habits and more habits and more things, and add things in and take things away and all of those things. And people don't have that unless they need it. Like if it's not a need, they won't do it. So people don't have enough adversity, I guess, to feel the growth of like afterwards. So you experience the bad thing, you learn a lesson from the bad thing, and then you change as a result of the lesson after experiencing the bad thing. But people don't want to experience it. They spend so long avoiding things or denying things or whatever it is that it's like, look, yes, I'm a mindset coach, right? I get it, but you can't meditate your way to do something that you've never done before. You can't visualize something that you've never done before. Like, there's only so far you can get inside your own head. You can visualize it, you can meditate on it, you can journal on it, you can do all those things and still never ever act. Because it's all on paper, it's all in your head, it's all like, it's all just a concept, it's all just an idea. But if you don't actually do anything, then it's almost like it's all in vain at that point, isn't it? Like all the meditating you've ever done, all the journaling you've ever done, all of the, just pick a strategy, right? All of the strategy that you do for your mindset is completely in vain until you actually take something and make it real by changing your actions.
And you said it a second ago too, like that clarity comes from the action. Like just do it and you'll figure it out.
I mean, even if the fifth time you do it, it works. You learn from the previous four. Like it's never the same time. It's never exactly the same every single time. Every single time you adjust and you change and you move forwards and you adjust and you chip away again and you make things better. It's already good. You can still make it better. So like someone used to say, oh, why are you so pessimistic about your videos? And why are you so like critical of your podcast? And well, if I actually said to myself, oh, it's an amazing podcast, it's fabulous, the likelihood of me actually improving it is very, very small because I think it's great. So sometimes coming at it from a positive light is good in terms of like not giving up, right? In terms of not stopping altogether, having a positive frame of mind is good. But if someone gives you negative feedback about it, right, well, maybe they've got a point. Maybe I can take it and use it and improve it. So there's a fine line. There's a whole like push and pull mess of like confidence and delusion and self-esteem and vanity and all of the different things are pushing and pulling and basically trying to control how you act. So like people that have been told that they're too self-centered and they're selfish and all those things, they realize that behind the scenes they're giving to charities all the time. And so, well, it's not that they're selfish, it's that you're not on their priority list. So maybe you need to find somebody that you want a priority list for want of a better expression, right? There's only so far we can take it. We can convince ourselves not to do something, or we can convince ourselves to do something. And it's all a play on words, it's all a play on how we feel, it's all a play on whatever it happens to be. You've got to do what works best for you as often as it works best for you. Like sometimes people find something what works for them, but like they'll keep doing it even when the trade-off is no longer there, right? So they don't change either. So it's hard to understand, it's hard to grasp, but everything is always changing. The only thing that's consistent is change. My podcast isn't the same as it used to be. My videos are different to the way they used to be. And we're only talking 2 months ago. So people say, oh well, I've done this for a year. Why have you just done this for a year? Like if you've not improved anything, if you've not changed anything, if you've not figured out that maybe you could do more of something different, and you need to think that change needs to happen in order for change to happen.
Yes. And I love how you worded that. And that reminds me of what you were saying a minute ago too, about the guy from Mind Valley, that everybody has the same, the same underlying fears and the same issues, but everybody also has to go through that change no matter what level you are. At least everyone that I've talked to that's, at these really high levels, they say the same thing. Like, you have to take constructive criticism and you have to adjust and adapt and change, or what works now is not going to work in a year or 2 years or 5 years. You never know. So you have to be open to that change.
Yeah, I mean, there's also an argument that, you might fail. Like,
Yeah.
It's part of life.
Yeah.
Like we didn't stand up and suddenly be able to walk. It was, it was like you kept failing, but it was the only way that you were ever going to actually succeed.
Yeah.
So most of the time, success doesn't happen first time.
Yeah.
Success is actually after a lot of failures.
Absolutely.
And I don't think the internet's helped with that. I don't think social media's helped with that. I don't think people taking pictures of their successes and not their failures doesn't help with that.
Yeah.
But always know that behind every selfie, there's 10 that didn't work, didn't do what they said. Always said that behind every success was like 10 failures and all of those things. And it's hard because people attach a lot of meaning to things as well.
Yeah.
Like, if they fail once, then they're instantly a failure if they fail once. And I failed several times. I've lost count. I've completely lost count of how many times I failed. But it's the space between the attempts. It's the space between the mini failures that determines whether or not you try again.
Mm-hmm.
It determines whether or not you dust yourself down and try again. It determines whether or not you improve on the last time that you did it. It determines whether or not you actually put your full effort into it first time round. I mean, because if you think you're going to fail anyway, you're not going to try.
Exactly.
Because, I'm going to fail anyway. And then, you end up confirming that, which makes the belief that you could fail even stronger. Yeah. So when people talk about changing beliefs and things, right, I'll have this conversation all the time, drives me insane. But it doesn't take a lot of repetition to actually change a belief, because it rewires in the brain after, say, 3 or 4 attempts. But but because we've got the push and pull of everything else, it takes longer. Yeah. So the reason why it takes like 30 days to rewire a neuron, or whatever the buzzword is now, it's because every time you've got to fight with your old way, as I call it. So when I was tennis coaching, I had this girl who was reasonably good, but on some of her shots, sometimes she'd hit it with her old way, and sometimes she'd hit it with her new way. Now, the result was very different. The way she felt about the shots were very different. They were more efficient with the new way, i.e. she could hit it over and over and over again for an hour because it was more efficient. She'd get tired within 10 minutes of doing it because it was dead like stiff and everything else, right? I said, right, well, every time you hit it with the old way, you're making the new way harder to ingrain. Because everything's built on repetition, but sometimes slowing things down and making sure that you do everything the new way is better than just doing 100 miles an hour and doing 10 of the old way, 5 of the new way, and hoping that you're going to get better. So it's a difficult thing to put to people, because everything's about speed now. Everything's about just take massive action. It's like, okay, great, but don't take it the old way. Yeah. Because you're making it harder to change every single time. Because your brain doesn't know right from wrong. Your brain doesn't know better or worse, or whatever it is. It doesn't judge whatever goes on. All it does is make life easier for itself every single time that you do it. Because it wants to just repeat everything. It's all based on patterns. So if that's the case, every time you do something your old way, even though you want to do something your new way, it's going to be harder. Same with the beliefs that you have. Like, if you want to believe that you're an amazing business owner, if you want to believe that your business will take off next year, 9 times out of 10, every time you sit down and tell yourself that you're a failure, you're making it harder to believe that you're going to make a success of next year.
Yeah.
So there's always that push and pull. There's always that that fight going on inside your own head. And as soon as people understand that, they actually do slow down. Because they're more conscious that everything that they do has to be towards where they want to go. Because every time they pull away from that, it's harder to go back again.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I love the tennis analogy. I think that really like clarifies exactly what you're trying to say. And I've never really I've talked to a bajillion mindset coaches, in programs that are with me and stuff like that, but I've never really heard any of it worded this way. And I really like it. My brain is very analytical and I overthink and overanalyze everything. So that makes perfect sense logically as to how your brain works and the patterns and repetition. And I really appreciate this perspective because, like you said before, some people, it works to just sit down and read affirmations and read belief statements. And if that works for you, that's awesome. That shit doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. And because, like you said, you have to fully be behind what you're saying and what you're trying to change. You have to know where you're going and know why you're doing what you're doing. So I love this perspective. I think this has been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't believe them, it's pointless.
Exactly.
It really, really is pointless. Yeah. Because you start having a conversation around, well, that's not true, is it?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that instantly pulls you away from where you want to be. Instantly. It makes it harder, it makes your life harder. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, I am going to have an amazing 2019. No, you're not. It's just started. How on earth do you know you're going to have an amazing 2019? And I'm saying it out loud, but that's what you could tell yourself as soon as you start reading these affirmations down. So there are two things that I would suggest changing when it comes to things like that. Is it's fine having the overriding goal, right? The overriding affirmation, right? But you need to have shorter term ones.
Yeah.
So more realistic to where you are right now. So don't say, I'm having an amazing 2019. It is fabulous. You've been evicted out of your house and your wife left you or whatever it is. I'm having an amazing 2019. It's almost like not looking where the train's going to hit you. You're just convincing yourself everything's okay, but there's a train coming that's going to knock you over, right? So you need to actually think, but using the same analogy, telling yourself I'm fast enough to move off the train track is more effective than telling yourself that there's no train there, because there's a train there. So having the logical side of things is fine, but you've got to work with that because that's how your brain works. Yeah, you can't fight your brain because it will win. It will make your life so difficult because you're trying to fight it. But using things like logic and just little tweaks to the way that you word things, all it does is just getting your brain to work for you rather than against you. Because I don't know about you, but I don't mind struggling to achieve what I want, but I don't fancy suffering. Suffering is not something I want to do. Right. And you got to see it that way. You've got to figure out, but the thing that I noticed with those two things that I said is that the thing saying that you're fast enough to dodge the train, you're fast enough to get off the track, that is also something that is internal. Yeah. Like telling yourself there's no train there is different to telling yourself that you're fast enough to dodge the train. Yeah. Because it's internal. You can control it. You can influence it. You can actually figure out, I am actually fast enough. Great. Awesome. And it's amazing what can happen when things become internal as opposed to external. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have any external things. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is just by me saying it, I could tell it in my own words and just the way that I felt that it changes things straight away. Yeah. As long as you believe them, as long as they're true, obviously. Yeah. You don't want to say false statements, otherwise you're just convincing yourself everything's rosy when it's not. Yeah. It's having things that are internal, things that you can influence, things that you can have a lot of control over is more powerful because then it gives you the chance to actually improve things, to actually change things.
Yeah.
But telling yourself that you're having an amazing business, and then all of the contracts that you send out, all the emails that you send, all the Facebook posts that you write, and everything that you do to help grow your business, if nothing happens between now and next year, you're trying to convince yourself things will be great even when they're not working out. But tell yourself, I don't know, maybe tell yourself, I don't know, I'm going to have a productive day today. I'm going to make sure that I enjoy my day. I'm going to make sure that I put things in place so that I can still be productive. I'm very good at working under pressure.
Yeah.
Things that are internal will help you do more of the things that benefit you. Because sometimes, as I said before, if things are going well, you're less likely to change.
Yeah.
So if you tell yourself you're going to achieve an amazing 2019, that means you do less than telling yourself that I'm going to be productive today.
Yeah.
So sometimes it can have an adverse effect because the statements are just statements, right? What they mean to you could be very different.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. That's so true, because you see that stuff all the time, right? Like all of these different people online talking about mindset work and, telling you all these things and be positive and keep all of this stuff, super positive and happy. But that's so true. Like if you're lying to yourself, if you're not solving any problems, it's not helping you, right? So there has to be a mix of both. And I love that. I love how you worded that. And I love all of your analogies. And even though I'm not a sports person at all, I went to art school for a reason. I have no athletic ability, but they still, like, they make perfect sense. And I love the way that you've put everything. It's super helpful.
Yeah, I mean, but then the flip side of it, and we're going to be quite stupid and picky now, but it's like there's almost like if you're lying to yourself already, like telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're terrible at what you do, that you're a horrible person, those things are internal, which is why they're so powerful.
Yeah.
But if that's not true, then it doesn't really matter what you tell yourself, because no matter what, it's not true.
Yeah.
Like, telling yourself that you're not good enough is probably not the case if you're a business owner, because you clearly are confident enough to start your own business. You're brave enough to do it. You're smart enough to figure out some elements of marketing, whether they're amazing or not, doesn't matter, right? You reduce the barrier for entry when it comes to how good you feel about that. And sometimes you've got to work with what you're given as well. Like, thinking too far ahead is pointless if you're down in the dumps and you can't figure anything out and life's awful, right? But if no matter what you tell yourself, it's not going to be true, or you're not going to believe it no matter what it is, then I would rather tell myself something good than something bad. If either way, it's not necessarily true, what would you rather do?
Yeah, that makes sense too. I love it. I love it. Well, we are a little bit over on time, so
that's okay.
I'm going to cut us off. But if anyone has any questions when you watch the replay, a lot of times we get a lot of replays the next day for Spotlight Sundays. So if anybody has any questions for Mike, maybe just tag him in a comment and let us know. But thank you so much. Before we hop off, do you want to talk about your Facebook group? There's a link to join Mike's Facebook group in the description of this. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, cool. Yeah, thanks for that, Brooke. I appreciate that. The group is like my little playground online, right? So a while ago, I decided I was going to dive into it. I was going to commit myself to it. And I do my own trainings in there. Once we hit over 250 members, I'm going to actually have contributors to the group. So similar to the online magazine, I'm actually going to have like contributors within the Facebook group. So I'm trying to build it in. I'm trying to create something that's not just your average group. I know you've done that with your group, which is pretty cool. So I thought, right, well, I need to figure out my way, figure out my version. So it's for entrepreneurs, it's for business owners. My thing is mindset, which I'm sure those who have tuned in will know. But people that are very good at what I'm bad at, they're also in there doing their thing. They're also going to be sharing their expertise, and it's going to be not just about me, because it used to be just about me. And I thought, well, which is fine, but the only way it's going to grow is if I think bigger, and that is where the contributors comes in. That's where my own trainings come in, because I found I'm going into the business side and the health side, and I'm including lots of different things because I want to help people and try and be everything to everybody. Because I've got the experience and I've got the knowledge in those areas. I feel like I can. But then people don't know what I do anymore. So, right, well, how can I tick those boxes without me having to tick those boxes? So that's where that came in. So if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you work online, this is the group for you. And it used to be just about mindset, but now it's not. So the group is Entrepreneurs Success and Sales Mindset. A lot of S's in that, I'm telling you that right now. So Entrepreneurs Success and Sales Mindset. And if you join, love to have you there. The next training, or the first training for next year, is going to be on the 10th of January. And I'm going to put a poll out in the group so people can actually vote on what I cover. Cool. So it's not just like, I don't just rock on and chat about whatever I want to chat about. I make sure people have a say, which is, again, I think a benefit of being a member. So if you join, love to have you there. I've got member inquiries to get to. I've been off for Christmas and New Year. So I've been looking, going, oh, I've got to get back to these. So I will get back to everybody that does join. And yeah, thanks for having me on, Brooke. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And this has been amazing. I really, really appreciate you coming in and sharing your perspective, and super inspiring. I love it. So I hope to, see you around the group, and it'll be awesome to get to know you a little bit better and learn about your business. So this has been great. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You're welcome. Bye.